All right. We're live, another episode of Monero Talk. I was lucky to get Jason Wong on. He's the creator of the MoneroBox. Coincidentally, I've been seeing a lot of talk about it on Reddit actually over the last 2 days, but we actually arranged this interview a while ago when I first saw the MoneroBox come out. I think there's been other attempts at plug and play full nodes, but I had reached out to Jason to see if this was the real deal, and apparently he's been making headway, and it is a real product. It's out there, it's working, and we get to hear from him and learn about the MoneroBox. Jason, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. I'm a little bit nervous.
Yeah, no problem. I know it's late over there. We could keep it short and sweet. I think like you could show us the box, maybe give us a quick demo. But before we get into that, if you don't mind answering just a few questions, what is a Monero node for those listening that are a little less educated in Monero land? What is a Monero node and or a Monero Full Node, and why should Monero users aspire to run full nodes?
Yes, the box is running a Monero daemon, which is the implements the blockchain in validation and also relaying the transactions and helps the networks to work together. And when you use a wallet to make any transaction, you need to connect to a node. It's either remote or you run your own node, but it must be a node. Yeah, and full node, because we don't have a pruned node now. So every node is actually a full node. It's either remote or local. You can use remote node. It's simple and easy to use, but the problem is that if those nodes are being shut down for some reason, you will lose the connection. So running a full node is helping you and to have a decentralized device. Another reason is that when you use the wallet and you connect to a remote node and you submit a transaction, the remote node actually knows that the transaction is coming from you. If the remote node record all the activities, then it's a privacy leak. So it's also the new full node is also good for your privacy.
Okay, so there's really two reasons. One, I guess it makes the network more decentralized, so we're not just relying on trusting a few nodes, and perhaps more importantly, it seems like it's the most ideal way to use Monero. Obviously, because a lot of people that use Monero are interested in protecting their privacy and want their don't want their transactions to be traced or tracked in any way. So if you're going to do it the right way, the right way is to run your own full node.
Yes, and better through like Tor network. It's not currently supported, but I'm adding it. The demo box is running on the Tor network actually. It's been there for like 2 weeks. I need to test it for some time before I push it out to the people. Yeah.
Now, has the code been reviewed at all? Has this thing been vetted other than people talking about it on Reddit? How do we trust these Monero nodes?
I don't know. I mean, how to do the validation of the code or review? I mean, code review. Maybe you can hire a company or third party to do it, but I don't have the resource. I'm not backed by a commercial organization. I'm on my own. So
it's all open source, and
yes, of course, it's open source. If it's not open source, no one is going to use it. Yeah.
So let's jump in. How easy is it to run? I mean, I think the reason why I know why I personally don't run a full node is because it's a little cumbersome. You have to run the full client. I really just store my Monero safely, and I have a few on a wallet on on Cake Wallet actually that I use. And I don't run a full node, but I would love to be able to do that. And I would love to eventually be able to have my Cake Wallet connect to it. Is that possible?
Yes, of course. There's someone in the Reddit. He just proved that he can use it.
It's as simple as adjusting the settings in your Cake Wallet to point it
exactly.
to the correct the name of your node. I guess simple as that, right?
Yes. But you need to do something like you need to have a public IP, of course, and otherwise no one can connect to you. And then you may also need a host name because IP is somehow some IPs are dynamic; they change from time to time. So you better have a fixed domain name, dynamic domain name mapped to your IP automatically. Then you will make things even better.
So is that something as the user you would have to set up, or so? I guess if you could walk us through the steps. So is it as simple as you're plugging in the node and setting it up on the software that comes with it, and adjusting those settings that you're talking about?
For the IP, you need to do something on your router. I cannot do that for you. I don't control your router. And for the domain name, you have to apply it for yourself. I cannot apply it for you. Otherwise, I will be able to hijack your domain name and map your domain name to my IP address. And then you are actually sending a transaction to me, not to your own node. So it's a security problem.
Okay, so
these you have to do it yourself.
These are things that people are going to have to figure out. You think there's steps that could be done to make that process more simple as well?
Yes, it's on the user menu. I have a user menu on the GitHub, so I usually send people to the user menu, and they'll figure out how to use it.
Great. Do you want to show us quickly now? Do you want to show us the box? And
sure. So this is how it looks like. Can you see it?
Yep.
Okay. This is the USB cable. It connects to the SSD. And this is using USB 3.0, so it's much faster than other device like Raspberry Pi. And then you connect it to the blue port. It's a USB 3.0 port. This is the first cable. The second cable is a network cable. So you just plug in the network cable. The third cable is the power cable. Here. Then you can see a blue light is on constantly.
You want to just hold it up a little high, hold it up a little higher as you. Yep. There you go.
Okay. And then we are waiting for a red light blinking sometimes. And that means the boot is successful. And then we wait for like 1 or 2 minutes for the system to initialize. And then we go to the web interface, and we will be able to see the Monero daemon is syncing. And then we can also see the system status, for example, system loading or some temperature and other system metrics.
So you simply plug it into the internet, you plug it into your computer, plug in the power, and you're up and running.
Up and running now, and actually you can use Cake Wallet to connect to it now from your home's network, because this network is using your home Wi-Fi or router. And if you want to connect to your MoneroBox from outside, then you need to set up like a router, domain name, those things.
Oh, okay. You mean, so if you're running Cake Wallet and you're connected to the same network, running off the same internet, then
network, yeah.
Right. Okay.
Then it's done. You can just change the IP address to the domain or the how to say the monerobox.local. You can always use it on your Cake Wallet to access to it when you are on the same network.
Gotcha. And you could also do it remotely, but there's a few more steps involved with that, is what you're saying, because you have to create your own domain.
Yeah.
Do you want to show us the software? You want to screen share the?
Yeah. Let me
setup?
see. Let me check that. Let me see if it works. Yes, I can do the screen sharing. So let me share screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so here you can see I use the address.
If you could try to enlarge it, the maximize the screen, expand it. Okay, yeah, good enough.
Like this?
Yeah, as big as it can get. Yep.
Okay. So here you can see the status of the Monero daemon. Here you can see the version and it's running, and the blockchain is on the mainnet and it's synced 100%. And also tell you the hard fork information. It's up to date now, but you will be we will have a hard fork really soon. So we will update the software after we get the binary files from the Monero core.
So how does somebody go about updating the software after the fork? Does that happen? Is there like an alert that happens and then you have to take some action, or?
No, the software installed on the box, it will actually automatically update the software. It will check with a central repository if there is a new version of the Monero daemon available, and you will download it and install it for you, so you don't have to do anything.
Oh wow!
But it will take it check once every day, not like every second. So you have to wait for like 1 day at most. At most.
And then,
sorry, one more.
The box comes like it's the chain is kind of already partially loaded when you receive the box.
Yes, it's fully synced at my home, and then I take to the post office. Mm-hmm. But when it arrives at your home, it may take like 2 weeks. So you have to sync the blockchain for those 2 weeks. And it usually takes, I think, 1 to 2 hours.
Great.
Yep. So here you can see the system status, for example, the CPU loading, and then temperature and memory usage, and the network usage. Yep.
Oh, I guess that's another question. There's different sizes?
Yes, it's about the RAM and about SSD. So usually, this one I'm showing is coming with around 2 gigabytes RAM, and the SSD is 220 gigabyte. And the demo box is using a 1 GB RAM model, so it's smaller and actually slower, because the Monero daemon may use a lot of resource when you try to sync the blockchain from the beginning. But if you don't do that, it's almost the same.
So no issues now with either size in terms of being able to store the full blockchain.
No, I think it can. The 120 gigabyte model can live for, I think, 3 or 4 years. But it really depends. If someday Monero become extremely popular and many people use it, then it will increase the blockchain size dramatically. So we run out of the space earlier than expected.
Do you have any opinion on that, on the size of Monero's blockchain versus Bitcoin, for example? And do you have any concern about that, and how how we're going to be growing over the years, or do you think the hardware and technology will compensate for it, and that it will evolve fast enough to keep up?
The Monero blockchain, the block size is become much smaller after the bulletproof, and I think that's it's actually quite amazing. The size reduced, I think it's reduced to I think about 10% of the original of the old version. So I'm not worrying about the blockchain size being increased like out of control. And another thing is that the Monero core dev is working on a fluent version of the blockchain. So I think last time they say that the fluent size is about 20 gigabyte. So if someday we run out of the space, we can change from full node to fluent node, and your node will still work.
Would there be any differences in running a pruned node versus a full node in terms of I don't know, being able to ensure that you have the full blockchain? And is it
When running a fluent node, you will only have a part of the blockchain, but it still secure your. It still helps to serve the purpose of decentralization, and also helps you to protect your privacy. But you just don't have the full copy of the blockchain, so you won't be able to serve other people when they ask for the data. But you will still be able to validate your own transactions.
okay? So for your personal use, as long as it's just for your own transactions, you'd be fine.
Yes.
Do you envision a day where people are running full nodes on their phones? Do you think that's will ever be possible in Monero?
No, I don't have any idea about that. I cannot imagine. Personally, my phone usually run out of battery.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I just wanted to get your opinion. If you see, obviously, we're improving as we go. Bulletproofs was a major breakthrough. There's talk of down the line making things more efficient with potentially swapping out ring signatures for something else. Doing things that will make the blockchain smaller and more efficient. I just wanted to get your take on whether or not you think we would eventually get to the point where we could run full nodes on our phones.
yes, I think the bulletproof reduce the size of the blockchain, but it actually more compute intensive. So you will spend more CPU time on the validation, and spending more CPU on the validation is actually use more power, and your battery will die faster.
Okay. How much are the boxes? They're obviously different costs for the different sizes?
Yes, it's 150 for the 1 GB RAM model.
Are you have you had a few orders come in?
A couple of people asking about some information, but I don't have anything left to sell now. Actually, I sold only 3 boxes, and I received only 2 payments.
Yeah.
So one of the guy, I sent him the box, and then he received the box, and he said he would pay me in Monero, but he didn't have any Monero, and he told me he's applying an account in an exchange, but waiting for KYC verification. It was last week, and then since then I didn't get any response from him.
Oh wow! So you're very trusting. You're sending your product without even.
Well, at that time I was and other guy is asking about MoneroBox on Reddit, and I was like, okay, I'm going to make a deal with you, and so I sent him a MoneroBox, and he tested it, and then he tested it, and then and he also posted some feedback on Reddit. That guy actually, that's an American guy, and he actually paid me the payment, no problem.
Mm-hmm.
But there's another Italian guy who also want to make the same deal with me. So okay, no problem. I also sent him, the Italian guy, another Monero box, and he get the box, and then I didn't get any response for 1 week. Yeah.
So why? What made you pursue this project?
It's actually quite interesting. It begin from Bitcoin's Lightning Network, because there are some developers in the Bitcoin community. They make something similar to the Monero box. No, and they made their own Lightning box, and Monero box is something similar to their Lightning box.
Is that the Casa node, or? Is that,
yeah, Casa, and other node, I think it's called a Raspberry Bliss. It's a box. It's a I think it's bigger than the Casa, but with a screen. Yeah, and the Casa is another thing, which is I think it's a very good project. Looks very nice. They have a very beautiful interface, and very I think the very good developers. They also open source their software. And one of the things I want to I read their source code, and I found out something is really good in their implementation, and I want to make my MoneroBox more similar to, well, I would say use the same technology as them, to make it software update even easier. And that's one of the thing in my to-do list. Yep.
Is to basically improve upon.
To improve the MoneroBox, to use the similar technology that Casa is using. Okay. They are using container to ship the new version of the software to their clients, and I'm going to use the same method for software update. But it's not done yet. It's in the to-do list.
Yeah, I think the Monero community, I hope, will really start to embrace this product. I mean, I think it's really in line with the ethos of Monero, right? Trying to keep our network as decentralized as possible, and doing transactions in the purest way possible, where you're protecting your privacy. So, I mean, it seems like you're making it where it's truly simple to run your own full node, and I would hope a lot of people would embrace this.
Yeah, personally, I put the privacy on the top of the list, because Monero is a privacy coin. The input of the transaction is and the input of the transaction, the output of the transaction, and the amount of the transaction, they are all private. But if someone can record your IP address, for example, when you send in a transaction, then this is a privacy problem, a privacy leak. So I want to, if I use privacy coin, I want to have a even better privacy. I don't want anybody to be able to figure out my IP when I send a transaction. That's why I'm going to use my own full node, and with a Tor network.
Mm-hmm. Have you thought about teaming up with, the wallets like Cake Wallet and Monero and Monerujo?
Yes. Well, some team they don't have the back end program. For example, now for example, Cake Wallet, they don't need any back end program running. They just use a random remote open node. Of course, the MoneroBox can serve this purpose without any problem. You can use Cake Wallet with it. But my Monero is different. Currently you cannot use MoneroBox with my Monero, because my Monero, when you are using my Monero, you are connecting to my Monero's dedicated server, and you can only use that server for now. So that's they have their own light wallet server. You need to run the Monero daemon and the light wallet server in order to make your my Monero application connect to your light wallet server and use it. So it's more complicated. It has a server-side program, and I will be working on the light wallet server to make the MoneroBox able to run the light wallet server, so that when you are using your My Monero app, you can connect to your MoneroBox instead of My Monero's server. And that is, I want to improve the privacy.
Yeah, I think it's a really powerful idea. I know we spoke about it a little bit offline too. And then maybe with Cake, I know with Cake there might be a few. So Cake, you could technically use it today.
Yes, exactly.
And I feel like Cake is kind of the safest, most ideal way to use Monero today, right? Because
I think it's the most private. Yes,
correct.
Privacy is better. In terms of privacy, it's better.
Right, because you're not giving up your view key.
Exactly.
Right, because I guess my Monero it's all done through their server. They have access to your view key. They could potentially see your transaction. Not that I think my Monero is a great product because it does work for lightning fast. But with teaming up with you, and if Cake could do it as well, you could kind of get the best of both worlds, right? Because now you could get the speed of my Monero, but you're running it on your Monero box versus having it run on my Monero servers. Is that correct? So you'd still get the speed component, but now you would maintain the privacy because now it's running on your own server.
Yes, exactly. You get the speed, and you also keep your own view key, which is good for your own privacy.
Yeah, I think that's a big idea. I think that's something definitely worth pursuing. I hope. I know. You spoke with Cake. I think. Did you speak with my Monero as well?
Yes. They told me that they open source their light wallet server, and it's on the GitHub, waiting to be merged into Monero core project. But of course, the Monero core developers, they are busy on other stuff like hard fork, so I think they don't have time to work on it. But I hope it will become like official. It will become a part of the official Monero core project, and get even better support.
Yeah, I hope so. I know I would certainly embrace it, especially with Cake, because like you said, Cake, you're not getting that convenience. You have to wait for everything to load. It takes a little longer, which I don't mind, but I wish I was able to run it using this setup you're talking about, which would be on the box, and it would basically kind of be a light wallet for Cake. but with all the same security that you currently have.
Yes. If you are using the light wallet servers, it will be the synchronization between the wallet and the server will be much faster, because the server will do all the transaction checking for you. And you on your mobile phone, the processor is usually less powerful than on the server side. So the speed will be faster.
So what's keeping you going on this project? Did you have you funded anything, or it's all self-funded at this point and just?
Yes, all self-funded. I don't think there's I think the market is not as big as Bitcoin Lightning node market. Otherwise, some company will come into the Monero and make their own MoneroBox. So I don't think anyone is going to fund this project. I don't expect any funding from anyone. So I'm working on my own, on my free time.
Have you considered reaching out to the community? I mean, I know it's a bear market, so everybody's not as willing to throw coins around, but maybe this is something that, through the Forum funding system, or I think we renamed it. I forget what it's called now. But maybe there's a way to make this one of the projects that would potentially be funded by the community itself to kind of reach a next milestone.
Actually, I opened a post on the Forum funding system last year, but no one cares.
Yeah. Well, maybe now that you've actually, you prove concept, you've developed the product, people see that you have the chops to do it. It already exists. Maybe you'd have a little more luck now,
Yeah, maybe, but actually the funding problem is not funding is not a really big problem. I'm not going to start a company.
Right. Okay, yeah. That's not the current hurdle in terms of getting to the next step.
Next step.
Yeah, I mean, to do these things you're talking about is obviously going to take time and
yeah, it will take some time, but we are still in a bear market now, so we still have time. Right?
This is true.
Yep. I think the most important thing for now is the hard fork on March. We have to keep things working after the hard fork, and then we will have time for the new features.
What do you do out, if you don't mind me asking? Do you work as a developer outside of these projects? Are you in your other life? Are you a hardware developer? Are you a software developer?
I'm actually a software developer, not a hardware one. I actually prefer to work on software more than hardware, but a Raspberry Pi or this kind of single board computer is quite interesting to me. So I spend some time on it, and they are almost like PC now. So I don't have a big problem developing software for the MoneroBox. And I'm a full-time software developer. I use C and C++ for developing softwares, and I also learn a lot of new technologies. For example, the containers thing for the project. So it's actually I learned something new when I developing MoneroBox. It's also good for me. Yep.
Oh, you could take your screen share off, by the way, so we could see you again.
Right. Screen share. Let me stop the screen share.
Let's see if you can see. Okay. Oh, there you go. All right, you're back. So why Monero? Have you worked on other projects for other cryptocurrencies? Is this your kind of your first project, and why Monero?
This is not the first cryptocurrency. Actually, I began from Bitcoin and also Litecoin, and then Monero. Okay, I also have Ethereum.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but Bitcoin is the biggest cryptocurrency. Many people has been working on it. You can find 2 to 3 different Bitcoin mining box. And Bitcoin is Litecoin is similar to Bitcoin. For the same thing, for the same hardware, just cheap for the same lightning box, you can easily make it to support Litecoin. But Monero is more different, and I still don't see any other Monero, any other project like MoneroBox. So and another thing is the decentralization and also privacy blocking. So I want to run my full node on my laptop. But the problem is sometimes the laptop, I don't want to keep it running 24 hours. It's go to sleep sometimes in the evening when I'm not using it to save some power. So I need another device to run the full node 24 hours. And I don't want it to go sleeping. So I choose Raspberry Pi in the beginning, but it was November, and the Raspberry Pi took, I think, 11 days for the synchronization.
Oh wow!
And no, I don't want I don't want it. So I switched to other hardware. And then I found this ROX 64. This board with a SSD, and it's much faster now. If you sync from scratch, you take around 1 to 2 days. Depends on the RAM, how much RAM you have. Yeah.
So really, it came out of a personal need. You were trying to use Monero in the best way, which is to run your own full node, and you didn't want to run it on your computer. So you went about right. So you built this to fulfill your own need, and it's definitely proving that there isn't a need in the space for it. That's interesting. So do you use Monero actively? Are you a believer in Monero? I guess so, because you were trying to use it in the best way possible, keeping it private. Do you have an opinion on like Monero versus Bitcoin or cryptocurrency in general?
The biggest difference is the privacy, but I don't want to do a lot of comparison because with other coins, it's not that well. I should use the word tribalism, maybe. So I don't want to make any comparison with other coins.
You're just trying to stay coin agnostic and be.
Yeah. I know there's many people in community A doesn't like community B.
Yeah. No, I'm glad that's your approach. I mean, a lot of people on this show share that opinion with you, which is I think what makes Monero great. Don't get me wrong, we have our own fanatics here in Monero land, but there seems to be kind of this more open-minded spirit of just kind of being in it for the project and trying to understand it and work on it, and kind of taking more of a scientific approach.
Yeah. I think both Litecoin and Monero community are quite good, friendly, they say.
That's good to hear. All right, I think that's good. I encourage anybody who watches this video to where can they find you? Is there a website for MoneroBox?
Yeah, it's monerobox.store. Or you can, yeah.
We'll add that to the links on the show. We'll add your Twitter as well. I encourage anyone to go check it out. I hope you stick with it. You think you're going to stick with this project?
Yes, for some, for quite some long time. Yeah.
All right, good. That's encouraging, and I hope people in the community reach out, pay you when they order from you. Is there any? Are you going to set up your purchasing a little different, maybe, so they could actually just order it?
Actually, it's already there. There, I have a store. It's a WooCommerce, a online store. But when you come from Reddit, it's another thing. I prefer people to, if you want to buy from the store, and don't deal directly with me and ask me to ship the Monero box first.
Yeah, you should send them to the store, to the link, right?
Yeah, I think it's better.
Okay. But people were apprehensive to do that, or?
Well, after someone showing that, someone proved that MoneroBox is not a scam, I think that will help people to go through the store to buy the MoneroBox.
Oh, okay.
I think I need to prove to people I'm not a scam. After that, people will be like more believe.
Okay.
And then they use the store.
Yeah, I hope this video helps to that end, and then hopefully maybe some people in the community will step up. Like you said, somebody today posted on Reddit a review, or yesterday,
Yes.
saying they successfully used it. I hope others do the same. And if there's any vetting anybody can do, it is open source to kind of validate that it's legit. And then I hope maybe you could partner with these wallets in these ways we were talking about to kind of be kind of that new version of a light wallet where you can run your own full node and also get the speed through a light wallet. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you. Oof.
And maybe we'll talk again in the not so distant future, just to kind of get an update. I hope things continue to progress.
Yeah, yes, definitely. If I have some update, I will post it on the Reddit and let everyone know.
All right, great. Let's keep in touch.
Okay, sure.
Thanks, Jason. Have a good one.
Yeah, you too.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye.